Welcome to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Liability car insurance cost and coverage. While a good car insurance policy is made up of several types of coverage, liability car insurance is the foundation. It's required in most states and is usually the most expensive portion of a policy. It's also a coverage you don't want to skim on. If you don't buy enough liability coverage, you could be setting yourself up for financial disaster if your car insurance cannot cover all the bills of a car accident you've caused. What is liability car insurance? Liability insurance pays others when you are at fault for a car accident that causes bodily injury or property damage. Liability insurance also pays for legal-related costs if you're sued because of car accidents. These costs include your legal defense and judgment and settlements that arise out of a lawsuit. Here are examples of when liability coverage comes into play. You're looking at your navigation system and rear and the car in front of you. You swerve and accidentally hit someone else's car. You mistakenly hit the gas instead of the brake and crash into a neighbor's fence. What does liability insurance cover? Liability car insurance covers you when you are in a car accident that results in bodily injury or property damage to others. There are two components to liability car insurance: bodily injured or BI liability coverage. Bodily injury liability coverage has payment limits for bodily injuries to one person in a car accident and bodily injuries to more than one person in a car accident. This coverage handles medical bills and lost wages for people in another vehicle if you are at fault for the crash. Property damage or PD liability coverage. Property damage liability coverage has payment limits for property damage in any one accident that you cause. Reading liability car insurance limit. Liability car insurance has coverage limit, which is the maximum that your insurer will pay out for bodily injury and or property damage to others if you are at fault in a car accident. You can choose your liability limits. Most states require a minimum level of liability coverage, but it's usually not enough to properly protect you if you were in a crash. Liability car insurance limits are typically shown as a series of three numbers. For example, you might see it written as 1535. The first two numbers are for bodily injury coverage and the third number is property damage coverage. For example, here's what 1530 means. 15 equals $15,000 of bodily injury or death coverage for one person per accident, and then 30 equals $30,000 of bodily injury or death coverage to more than one person per accident, and 5 equals $5,000 for property damage coverage per accident. Liability limits of at least 100, 300, 100 are much better, and you may want ever higher limits if you have a lot to lose in a lawsuit. 100, 300, 100 means $100,000 for bodily injury to one person per accident, $300,000 for bodily injury to more than one person per accident, $100,000 for property damage per accident. And remember, liability insurance pays others. It does not cover your own injuries or damage to your vehicle. What doesn't liability insurance cover? Liability insurance doesn't cover everything. For example, it doesn't pay to repair your own vehicle or replace your car if a thief steals it. Other types of car insurance can cover those issues. Here are some common types of car insurance. Collision insurance. This pays for car repair bills, minus your deductible. If you get into a car accident, no matter who is at fault for the accident, collision insurance is the optional coverage type, meaning you'll have to pay more to add it to your policy. Comprehensive insurance. This pays to repair or replace your car for problems such as floods, fire, falling objects, hail, collision with animals, vandalism, and car theft. Comprehensive insurance is an optional coverage type and you will have to pay more to add it to your policy. Uninsured and uninsured motorist coverage. These coverage types pay medical bills and other expenses for you and your passengers if a driver without liability insurance or not enough liability insurance crashes into you. Uninsured motorist coverage is required in some states and optional in others. Personal injury protection and med pay. This coverage steps pay for medical bills and other expenses for you and your passengers, no matter who was at fault for the accident. Personal injury protection or PIP is required in some states but may be optional or not available in other states. How much does liability insurance cost? The cost of liability insurance is based on several factors, including your driving history, such as speeding tickets and other moving violations, your claims history, the amount of coverage you buy, your age, other factors that can vary by state and company, including gender, material status, occupation, and credit. The use of credit to determine insurance rates is prohibited in California, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and Michigan. Auto insurance rates vary widely among companies because they all have their own way to calculate rates. You might be able to find the cheapest liability-only car insurance for a much better price when shopping around. That's why it's a good idea to compare car insurance quotes from several companies. Do I need liability car insurance? Every state has some form of financial responsibility law, meaning you show you can pay if you or someone else driving your car causes a crash. Most drivers satisfy these requirements by purchasing car insurance. It's usually the easiest and most affordable option. If you don't want to buy liability car insurance, your state might require you to post a bond to show financial responsibility. The cost of a bond can run upward of $50,000 depending on your state. States that don't require liability car insurance, New Hampshire drivers in New Hampshire are not required to buy car insurance in many cases, but you must be able to demonstrate financial responsibility if you cause a car accident. Other instances where you'll be required to buy car insurance in New Hampshire are: you were found at fault for an accident where you didn't have an insurance and are now required to file a proof of insurance. You were convicted of driving while intoxicated or DWI and must file proof of insurance for a minimum of 3 years. You are certified as a habitual offender but must show proof of insurance before you can get your license back. You must appear at an administrative hearing for certain offenses, like demerit points, and are required to purchase insurance as a condition of retaining or getting back your license. Even without an insurance requirements, buying auto insurance is a smart way to protect yourself from accident costs. If you decide to buy a policy, you need to purchase at least 25 in liability car insurance in New Hampshire. Virginia. Driver in Virginia can pay a $500 uninsured motor vehicle fee to skip car insurance, but if you cause an accident, you'll still be personally liable for injury and property damage, meaning you could be stuck paying for injury and property damage. If you decide to buy car insurance in Virginia, you will need to buy a minimum of 25-50-20 in liability car insurance. How much liability car insurance do I need? A general rule of thumb is to buy enough liability insurance to cover what you could lose in a lawsuit based on your asset. Here's why. Let's say you buy your state's minimum car liability insurance of $15.35 and you cause an accident that injures multiple people and result in $100,000 in medical bills. Your insurer will pay $30,000 and you would be responsible for the remaining $70,000 to get an ample amount of liability insurance. Consider buying an umbrella insurance policy. Umbrella insurance provides excess liability coverage of $1 million and up. When your liability car insurance is exhausted, umbrella insurance kicks in. You can typically buy $1 million in coverage for around $150 to $300 per year, according to the Insurance Information Institute. 3 things to consider when getting liability insurance for your car. How much liability insurance you need depends on where you live and what you have to lose. Here's what to consider when buying liability insurance for your car. Determine how much liability insurance you need. Most states require a minimum amount of liability car insurance, but the state minimum may be inadequate for your specific needs. For instance, Texas state's minimum are $30, $60, $25. In that case, you need at least $30,000 in bodily injury covered per person per accident, $60,000 in bodily injury to more than one person per accident, and $25,000 $5,000 in property damage per accident. That's likely not enough to protect your assets such as your home and savings account. Figure out how much you have to lose in a lawsuit. One thing that you should influence your liability coverage is how much you could be lost in a lawsuit. For example, if you own a home and savings, you will likely want to buy liability insurance that is well above your state's minimum requirements. If you do not have enough car liability insurance, your assets could be at risk if you cause a car accident that results in substantial damage or injuries. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.